like anytime in arguments, is there like a certain thing that you tell yourself to remember during those times?
No.
I think your head's just like, fuck.
Yeah, my head's like, fuck this shit. Hello, I'm Sam.
And I'm Amelia.
Welcome back to Us As You Are podcast where we aim to build a better mindset for better relationships.
Yeah, this week for relationships, we have given the roles and responsibilities to ChatGPT. And we have asked it, him, he, her, shim, to give us a list of deep conversations around relationships for us.
Meta search AI, baby.
Yeah, with
At
the
its
rise
finest.
of AI, we thought, why not take the chances?
Yes, and the first deep question that it has thrown us is it ethical to date your friend's exes?
Straight into the deep end, eh? I guess AI has hit the brief. This one's a difficult one, I think. There's so many different spectrums to it. Like, is it a really close friend? Or is it like a friend that you just have in your circle or know of? And then also, how long ago have they been dating?
You've hit the nail on the head there. I think there are various different variables that you've got to think about. And yeah, man, I think the biggest thing for me is if I were to consider dating a friend's ex, the time frame definitely would be the one thing I would consider first. And honestly, secondly, I would definitely communicate with that person because you don't know how they obviously split apart or if it was a positive or a negative breakup. So you coming into the midst of it might stir the pot a little bit.
I think it's also how long did they date. So if it was like a few months thing, used to be a fling in high school, now it's like you guys have both matured or grown differently. Like that might be a different story, but if it was like a very long-term relationship, they were really serious, were a few years on, and then now you're like, interested in that person, then I think that might not be ethical. So I agree with you where I would talk to that person, like your friend, and be like, hey, I've actually been thinking about this and I potentially might like your ex, and just seeing what you think about it and just leave it as an open forum and be like, will you be okay with it? And if they're not, for me, I would respect that and be like, okay, then maybe it's not a path that I should pursue.
Yeah, but let's play devil's advocate here because I can see people thinking, why the fuck should you even care to begin with? Because that's in the past. From that perspective of not giving a shit because it's just the past.
Yeah, but the ethical part is what we're trying to answer. I think it's unethical if you just did that where you're like, I don't give a shit. Past is the past. They've been there, done that, been years, and I'm going to go and date this person, which is their ex. I think that's unethical. I think the ethical way is like if you do actually want to pursue this relationship, still talk to the friend and be like, hey, I know that you guys used to date. I just want to see your standpoint because I respect your feelings and where like you guys and our friendship and where you guys used to be. So I want to see your thoughts.
Yeah, and it's good that you brought those points up because, yeah, just in case you guys are thinking, hang on, well, why should we care to begin with? But yes, I agree with all your points. I think, yeah, the biggest thing definitely is the communication component.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is your friend. So if you don't care, then is that person even your friend?
Yeah, is it just an acquaintance? Fuck that guy or fuck that chick, whatever.
All right, next one. Should couples share their access to their phone or password?
Now, you see, this one's kind of fucked up, all right? I can see the guys or the girls who they might have trust issues to want to see their partner's shit. And I think this is going to be debatable in some way. For me personally, I don't really care if, like, for example, you have my password to get into my phone. So whatever you look into, who gives a shit? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I've got nothing to hide. I tell you everything anyway. If there's pictures of bitches.
Yeah, my Facebook as well.
Yeah, if there's if there's pictures of girls, it's, you already know why they're there. Or even if you look at my Instagram.
Yeah, well, I think to answer this question, It's not about should or should you not share. It's like sometimes you might just need to actually share password, like you need to help me access something or you need to help me with whatever. And also, especially with us, we do this podcast together. So sometimes we need to share passwords to do certain things that are actually work related. But it comes down to more like the intent of why you're sharing the password. And also, are you okay with sharing the password as opposed to someone who might approach it and be like, I need your password, write down all your passwords and access and give me your phone. Like that is different. Whereas for us, even if we log into it, you're comfortable with the other person seeing whatever's in there. Like there's nothing to hide, there's nothing that you don't want to share, so it's okay.
Yeah, like the use of you should or I need your passwords. I think that's what's going to stipulate a different situation. Because yeah, it'd be a bit strange if I just dated you for fucking 6 months or a year, and I'm like, oi, bitch, give me your fucking passwords.
And even if you're the person who's willingly giving the password, I think it's the understanding, a mutual understanding as well for both parties that for that person who is accessing the phone, that they should also have an understanding to be okay with what they're seeing. Like, don't question everything and be all like insecure or like controlling and be like, why do you have this? Why do you have that? Like, hey, what is this? Or this person just messaged you. What does that mean? Like, you just need to be okay and just let things be what it is. Like the trust. It's something that you have to build. It's not something that happens overnight. Yeah, I think if you are to share passwords or share access to something, just have that mutual understanding. Like it goes both ways. Well, this trust is not just one sided.
Yeah, I feel if you're wanting to see your other half's like private shit, like as in you need to see the get into the passwords, accounts, and things like that, you probably have a deeper problem than just wanting to see passwords. And I
Well, I
think,
think that's already a sign of some sort of trust, whether or not
mm,
you know or you think that yet, but it will eventually build into something bigger.
yeah, especially within that first startup phase of your relationship, and you're wanting to know all these things, it's passwords and your accounts are kind of like your private what's that word?
Boundaries.
It's like your yeah, it's like
Personal
your
bubble.
Yeah, it's like your private sort of personal stuff. So to give or to share that stuff to your other half, it can be quite a big commitment.
Yeah. And I think it's also if you're curious, like genuinely curious, not just being like, who is he talking to? Like, what is he doing? Like, just ask the question. Like, just ask me, like, oh, hey, what are you doing today? Like, who is that person that you're talking to? Like, you're actually genuinely wanting to get to know what's happening. And I think that builds better trust, like, in the long run than to be like, give me your password. Like, what is this? And
Yeah, having your other half stuff like personal details and whatnot is quite invasive.
mm. But I guess it also differs from couple to couple. But I think just
Yeah,
like when it gets unhealthy is when you're actually just doing it to monitor, then that's different. So yeah, we actually had that toxic relationship episode with Chantel. So listen to that, and that goes into a bit of having to share passwords and access to things due to controlling relationships.
yeah. So I guess all in all, to answer the question, it really comes to you guys as to your relationship, how you guys talk and communicate, and how comfortable you are.
Well, I think it's not a depend. It's like, as long as it's healthy and you guys have a mutual understanding of trust and boundaries, then yeah, it's okay to share. But it's not a should or you shouldn't. It's just like when is the right time and how healthy is it when you're sharing.
Nice, nice. Well, this next one relates to well, quite similar to this about, and what do we believe is the difference between love and attachment?
This is such a good question, and it's actually a hard one to answer because we did something similar where we had a question where it's one word to describe your understanding of love. That was already a struggle. I think attachment is something where there is some love to it, like you love this person, you love being around this person, but attachment is like you are unable to be by yourself, like you're quite dependent, maybe.
Yeah, I would say to me the difference between an attachment and a love is attachment is more like you said, you're dependable on that one person. You're most comfortable with that person. Yes, there is a form of maybe a small hint like a love component to it, but it's purely just you're gravitated towards that person because of those factors.
Comfortability.
But love is more your intent behind it. you're there because you want to truly spend that time and be with that person?
Well, I think deeper into love, when you think about love, you also need to think about what the other person wants too. So I'm just thinking in the case, like, say you had to let someone go due to love, like, you know that you're not the best person to be in a relationship with this person that you really love and really love having around. You might love them enough to be like, okay, I really need to let you go. Or even if they want to travel overseas and work overseas and have a long distance relationship, it's like you are able to let go and let them do things to better them. And rather than just only thinking about, I need you here, I need you by my side, that's a bit of attachment, especially when it comes into other factors where they need to do something for themselves and you aren't able to let go, then that's attachment. But if you love them for what they are and you purely want to give them the love that you feel that they need, is letting them do what they need to do. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so I guess the difference between the two is attachment, you're self-centered, and love, you're more considerate of the other person as well. That's essentially what you're saying.
Bluntly,
That's the blunt way of
bluntly
saying it, right?
explained.
Yeah, righto. On to the next one, baby.
On to the next one. This next one is actually a really interesting one. Is marriage an outdated institution?
Yeah, this is a common conversation amongst my friends, that is. Back in, 15, 20 years ago, you'd say, yes, it's like a social norm to get married and to be amongst of that experience. Nowadays, it's very different.
The elopement and like not really getting married and
Yeah, just
just de
like not the
facto.
traditional way of celebrating it, I guess. Yeah, and I actually had this conversation with my really close friend Sam about this particular question. And we were like, oh, well, from the Asian culture, it's very much like you've got to have, all these traditional things in terms of getting married, doing the tea ceremony, doing this and doing that. It's very different now in the fact of just proposing essentially, but then sort of that's the mutual agreement. There's
Mm.
nothing more from that.
Well, actually, I see two ways. Like, if we're only honing in onto the Asian culture, if you actually look at a lot of families out there, I know a lot of, I'm not generalizing, but I just do know a lot of Viet families where they actually don't get married. They're just de facto, they've just lived together, have kids, and they've actually never even got proposals or engagements, anything. They just had a family, and that's just how they live, and they still live together as a happy couple.
Yeah.
I think there's two spectrums. There's one that's like really following the social norm, but like this is like the clear paths and ladders that you need to climb, and one of them is getting married, and then there's the other where they just never even got to the marriage. They just had a family and just live life.
Yeah, and the funny thing, I actually had a conversation with my mum last night for an hour and a half, and somehow we were talking about the same best friend that I was talking about before, and how his parents got married. Traditionally, it's very much like, hey, it's a celebration, it's a gathering, family get together, and my dad and his best mates, or brothers in this term, pulled together money to help fund the wedding of my best mate's parents' wedding. So back then in their generation, it was a very big thing to celebrate and push forward for. And they would always get their friends and brothers to just put money together to do things like that, which I thought was interesting. But showing that back in those days, yes, traditional route of getting married, celebrating it, gatherings was a must.
I think outside of that, it's just the Asian culture. Like everything needs to be for show. If something happens or a milestone or whatever, you need to show it, you need to flaunt it. But I just don't agree with that. And also going back to this question, because we kind of fell off the tracks a little bit, like, is marriage an outdated institution? To me, I feel like in today's age, it has been outdated because it's more the understanding of what is the true meaning behind marriage. Like, you get married because you really want to spend the rest of your life with this person. So, whether or not you actually have legally done that signing of the papers or you've got that ring on your hand, like, the true meaning behind it is really you have just made that promise to be with that person for as long as you can. And I think that's really the main thing. So whether or not a marriage goes ahead, that's what people are seeing now, is just to be able to be with each other.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly how I would say it.
Well, it's also just signing the papers for
Mm,
legal purposes to, I know if you have kids, I'm not a lawyer, but it's just like it makes things easier on paper when you're like signing up for school, signing up for that, because you guys are actually legally married.
yeah.
So I think that's also why like marriage happens, but the really comes back down to just truly finding someone for yourself and why you with that person and intent behind weddings. Like, why do you want that? If it's for celebration, that's cool. If you don't, it's not something that you want, then that's also cool.
Yeah. So long story short, is it outdated institution? From our
I
opinion,
feel like
yes.
yes.
Yep. So this next one is about relationships, more so
Well,
specifically.
this whole thing is
Well,
about
yes, obviously
relationships.
this whole thing's about relationships,
Get with the program.
but this one is about, is it fair to expect your partner to change?
mm. Okay, so this one for me, I don't agree. Like, if we're talking about having expectations of your partner to change, I don't agree that there should be that expectation. But in saying that, on parallel, I do think that everyone changes within life. Things happen, experiences, knowledge, there's always changes, so that naturally occurs. But to expect that in someone, like especially when you go into a relationship thinking that someone is going to open the door for you all the time or wake up and give you breakfast in bed all the time and then say they don't do that and you're trying to put the expectation to be like, oh, you need to do that and keep thinking that they're going to change in that manner, then that's not the right way to look in a relationship. But knowing that change does happen over time and being okay with growing with their change, I think that's different.
Yeah, I would probably say something similar on the lines of that. I believe that by natural progression and maturing, especially within the relationship, you will naturally change and gravitate and bond towards your partner. Like when I reflect back within our relationship, we both have changed quite significantly. She has changed a lot since we first started dating. So you can see the natural progression within the relationship. Now, I wouldn't say I expected her to change. I think just the time of us being together and spending time together and growing together, naturally she changed.
Yeah, I think to rephrase it, like in terms of if you're thinking about expectations of someone to change, rephrase it in your mind going into a relationship is to understand that change will happen. And then also, this is why for us, we do check ins all the time. It's kind of like your performance review. And it's because change happens and two people come into a relationship, both people change. Sometimes the change doesn't align with where you are right now or where you want to go. And that's why relationships may not follow through because values and opinions and all that have changed. But that's why you need to check in with each other. Is there anything that has been bothering you that I have done recently, or like is there anything that you want to bring up? And it's like a genuine check-in. And if it's something that's not aligned, then yeah, maybe it's something you need to talk about. Maybe you need to work through it. And is it something that you can work through to help better and continue to grow together and individually in a relationship? So it's rather than take out the expectations, but it's more like how do you work with changes in a relationship?
Yeah, the relationship is a two-way street too. So you're constantly battling but negotiating the change between you both. Some things that she or he may like, and then some things that they both may not like. So it's just about communicating and working with each other to mold together, which will lead to changing is eventually. That's what I'm trying to get at. But in terms of using that term of expecting, I don't I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, next one. Is it healthy to maintain a separate social life?
I believe it is healthy to have a separate social life to some extent. Like prior to you coming together, you will both have your own individual groups. And as you merge together, you will form new groups. So your walk of industry of in work and career and things like that, you would already have your own form of social groups.
Mm.
In my opinion, I think it is healthy to have a joint group, your own individual group where you can be alone and chill and have your time for a break or whatever you need to do, hang out with those guys simultaneously.
To dig into deeper into this though, like I agree, it's just only natural that you have your own social life, you do your own thing. And like with that, it just gives you more things to talk about, more things to have conversations about because you can come back at the end of the day and be like, oh, this is what happened. Like I did this and I found it really interesting. But at the same time, like say your partner really wanted to join in on this social life and be like, oh, can I come with you today? Like not in a clingy way. It's just like, oh, I kind of want to do whatever this, like, say you're going painting. And it's like, oh, I really love painting. I want to try it. Can I come with you? And it's like, are you okay with doing that? As opposed to your mindset being like, no, like a clear no, I just want this for myself. I feel like that's the clear indicator if it's like a healthy relationship or not. Because if you're like always wanting to go out and just be by yourself and not to want your partner there, then you might have to question that and be like, why do you always want time alone?
Yeah, you come up with a good point there. And I agree. I think if you not necessarily saying that having a individual social group is purely only for your social individual, socialization. I think if say you wanted to join, that's fine. I
Mm,
think if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you have a disagreement in terms of that, saying, "Hey, this is my time only, fuck off,"
mm.
then I would say, and I would reflect and say, well, why? Is it because you're spending too much time with that person? Is it because you're upset with that person? Or is it really just a time where you can just be alone, chill with the girls or the boys, and, be yourself?
And I think a good example, like this is like doesn't really answer like if it's a good or a bad thing. So there are times, a lot of times where you go out and you hang out with your car friends. They're all guys. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, can I join too? Because I'm really into cars. I have my own car as well. And I actually genuinely want to join. And there are times where you would say no. And I'm actually okay with that. I'm like, fine, that's okay. I'm not like, oh, why don't you want to be with me? Like I'll joke around, obviously, but it's more like not in a serious manner where I'm like, oh, why do you always like kick me to the side or like you just don't want me to hang out with you? I'm just like, okay, cool. Cause you're truly just explaining like this is a boys thing. Like we just did a boys short little get together. And then, next time I'm like, can I go next time? You're like, yeah, that's fine. So it's like a give and take, have a bit of understanding, but it's really truly understanding why you may not want someone at your social gathering or why you might want to join that person's social gathering. Like, are you there for the event or are you just feeling a bit clingy or a bit of that attachment that we talked about earlier? So, a lot of things that play into this. So, there can be healthy ways to have your own social, separate lives, social boundaries, but also healthy ways where you can include them as well.
Yeah, just talking about it, I think, is the biggest thing. It's like even that example that you mentioned before, like for me, it's more just me being alone,
Yeah.
hanging out with the boys.
And a deeper understanding is like, I know that you as a person, this is something that you learn about the other person over time is that sometimes you do need your own time. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I know we've spent a lot of time together. We live together. We've done a lot of things together this week. It's like, cool, go do your thing. That's it.
Yeah. Well, this next one is actually quite an interesting one. Um, I'm actually curious to know what you think. Can you be in love with two people at the same time?
To me, my answer is no. I think just my personality alone, I know that there's a lot of people out there that have different type of relationships that and values that they see. I am just like a one person only, and if we're talking about love as in like relationship love, my answer is no, and I have no reasonings around it. If I'm putting my heart into something, I just want it to be that one thing and I can give it my all. Because I find it really hard if I was to, say, open up my relationship and love two people at once. I wouldn't know what to do, actually. I don't even know how I would balance that and how you would keep two people happy and yourself as well. You're kind of spreading yourself too thin, in my eyes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like if you're loving two things and you're like fucking this one's good at this and this one's like this and you're like fuck,
Well, it's like
a bit hard to
you also
balance.
want to, because I'm big on quality time. So if you want to spend quality time with two people, how do you do that? Apart from scheduling out times between the two,
You
which is
have them both with you.
possible. I don't know. That's a bit weird. Like I don't know. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how back in the days when
The
the
king that has
kings,
like 50 concubines.
yeah, I'm curious to know how the hell he's
Well, technically, some of those never saw the king.
yeah, but how do they lay some pipe?
No. Anyways, what's your answer?
My answer is no. I think it's a bit strange to love two people in terms of that type of love relationship. Yeah, it'd be a bit hard to sort of balance the two.
Would you ever try though?
Knowing me, yeah, probably.
Cool.
Fuck it, why not?
I'm gonna scope out and see who this
Scope out some other
third
chicks.
chick is.
Hey,
Who would it be?
I fucking don't know. There's plenty.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Nice reaction there, buddy.
All right, this one I also don't agree with. It's a bit weird, but is it
Wow.
ethical to use tracking apps on each other?
This one's pretty fucked up, in my opinion. I think if you've got
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. There are some good reasons I can see why, but yeah.
I can see the goods in it, but I guess when you hear this question, if you want to call it a question, it kind of does stem to a negative connotation behind it. And I think the default thing is thinking that you're possessive, you're trying to see where your partner is. It's like you don't trust them. So
I think this kind of links well with that phone access and also attachment thing.
Yeah, I think if you're in the mindset or the headspace in terms of I need to know where this person is at all times, then I think you need to reflect on yourself a little bit further than tracking devices. But I do see the benefit of having tracking devices on your, say, on your iPhone or whatever it is, because, sometimes you might genuinely lose shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know a lot of people who actually have this, like even on their kids or like actually their husbands or something like that. But sometimes it's purely because maybe the husband or the partner, not just husband, just doesn't check their phone enough or doesn't actually remember where their phone is or whatever. And they can just actually be like, I'm curious where they are. Like, I just want them to go pick up some milk for me. And you'd be like, oh, I can see that he's really close to the supermarket, just trying to get him to buy it for me or something. So I can see like some benefits or some reasons why someone would allow it. And again, like not being like a certain hard no, hard yes. It's just again that relationship, the understanding and why you would do it. And if they're both okay with it, then that's cool. Personally, I don't like if you were to be like, let's add what's it called? A tracking app on our phones. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but for me, I just think deeper into like the whole hacking system and like all that stuff where people can see where you are and like someone else might be in your phone and looking at your data and they can see where you are, like less of you looking at me. I feel violated that someone else is seeing where I am, so that's why I wouldn't add one.
Yeah, the tech nowadays is quite
A quake?
crazy, quite
Crazy,
quite crazy. So yeah, man, I don't trust the GPS functions as much, but I can see the benefits of it. So yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to your intent as to what you're using it for. But for me, I wouldn't use it, I don't think, for tracking my partner.
And plus, I have so much stuff going on anyway. Even if we installed it, I probably wouldn't use it because I forgot about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll just go straight to be like, hey, where are you?
Now, this next question is actually quite a common one. I see this hover around, I guess, not just on the Googles, but
The Googs.
within my social network. It's about, is it fair for one partner to sacrifice their ambitions for career growth for the other person?
This is one that you see on movies a lot. Someone
Yeah,
having
yeah.
to, they're in the crossroad and they either have to give up their own career ambition or they give up their relationship for their career. So I can see how it's a common one. A lot of these questions, I think it just goes back into understanding, like talking about it, like how much do you want this thing, and like the pros and cons, and the other person's career, like where is that leading if they have like a bigger potential, bigger growth there, where maybe down the track your own career, you still have potential or you still have other options that you can take, then maybe you can say no and maybe you can sacrifice. But it's not like a, is it fair, is it not? It's only unfair if someone is like, hey, you need to give up your career because I want to grow here. Then that's unfair.
Yeah. The only thing I would probably add to it is I would look at it more on a deeper level in terms of, okay, well, depending on the industry that you and your partner is in, analyzing that. What's the time frame from what you want to achieve? I.e., are you trying to go from peasant level to CEO level from a certain time period? Is about assessing what's feasible and I guess how the industry is performing as well.
Mm.
I.e., the tech industry right now is booming, so maybe you could probably leverage off the booming timeframes to gain that skill set. That's, I guess, the way I would think about it.
Yeah, so I think this one's quite simple. Talk about it, strategize, like have a team meeting. Like a relationship is essentially a team. You're working together as a team to get to certain goals and milestones in life. And you guys come together, discuss where that your partner's goal is for career, where your goal is, what's feasible, what's working right now, what's not working, what are the potential pathways that may open if you go this route, and what are some potential pathways if you don't go this route, and you just strategize, come together and come to a mutual understanding and work towards that. And not saying that this will ever always work out, but even if it doesn't work out, are you okay with that too?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing too is will you be okay when that time comes for that transition period? So, meaning, say if you went and did a 3 year stint in your particular industry and you didn't succeed in it, and it's my turn to flip over, like, are you okay that you didn't succeed?
Hmm. This next one, interesting, and something that I've always wondered about and thought about is it okay to maintain a relationship with your ex's family after a breakup?
Ex's family, as in parents or like brothers or sisters and stuff?
Family in general, anyone.
I personally think it's okay depending on how your relationship is, like how close you are. I would definitely put boundaries up just to differentiate or to define the fact that, hey, look, man, we're not together anymore. Have that wall up in some way because sometimes previous relationships, like their family members might want to leverage off you. I'm just thinking it from the worst case scenario.
Well, it's not just that, but it's just for the sake of emotional boundaries too. So be like, hey, we aren't together anymore, but I still see you as a friend. Would love to hang out, but maybe it's like the boundaries around not hanging around certain family gatherings. Like, don't make me go to those and make it seem like we're still together, where it's uncomfortable,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like those kind of boundaries. Just have it like a good understanding. But I don't see anything wrong with still hanging out with family because even like the mum or something really saw you as a daughter, a son, or like the dad saw you as a son, and you did build a really good bond, and you guys really love going fishing, and the dad didn't have anyone else, like you can still go fishing. I
Yeah.
think things like that is fine.
Yeah, I see it more like you've built rapport with that person or family members or whatever it is, like outside of the relationship that you had. That's still a relationship that you got with that person. So a relationship is a relationship. It's a network. So you can still maintain that. I don't see it being a problem unless you don't have set boundaries within it.
Yeah, like if it's too uncomfortable, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't. But if you're fine with it, and if your partner, your ex partner, I guess, is fine with it as well, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, we always see this in K dramas or every bloody K drama that we watch. And I'm sure you guys would probably have seen it in dramas in general, but is it okay to lie to your partner for whatever reason it is? Do you think that's acceptable?
To protect their
Yeah,
feelings.
to protect feeling or whatever it is.
Yeah, so white lies. Uh, for the most case, for me as a person, I rather not. Like, as much as you're trying to protect me, you're still lying. And as much as you're trying to protect me, you're elongating the understanding of the problem. So I would rather that you just tell me what's happening and be like, okay, how do we fix that problem? Because I'm just a person, it's like, if there's an issue, if there's a problem, I want to try and know straight away and work on it straight away. It might not be fixed, but at least I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I agree. And the most recent K drama that we're watching right now is Queen of Tears, and that is such a common thing that we see in this drama all the time. It's all about the white lies. It's all about fucking not telling the person the truth or not even just talking to the person about certain issues or whatever that comes up. So for me, I'm a massive advocate of actually communicating. Talk to the person. If there's an issue, say something about it. If there's
Mm.
something that they need to know and should know that will affect them, then yes, you should say something. I don't understand why it's such a like a roadblock for certain people or certain cultures or some people in some relationships.
Yeah.
It's like a you don't want to hurt them situation.
Well, it's even like back to like basics. Say I am just learning to cook and I was cooking and I made some muffins and I got you to try it. There are some people that would actually be like, this is good, like trying to put on their face. But say like I actually believe that and then we had like a family gathering. I made the same muffins again and now everyone has to eat it.
Yeah,
I feel like I'd be more embarrassed that my muffins are bad and you didn't tell me
that's
about
right.
it, as
Yeah.
opposed to you like not saying that this is shit. I get that that's how you talk and I don't care about it, but it's more like how can you bring it up and be like, okay, I think it needs more salt or it needs
You need to
more
work on
sugar.
it. Yeah.
Like just giving some constructive criticism is better than being like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I think defining what the issue is rather than saying dead set this is fucking shit, mate. I think if you actually give that feedback, that constructive feedback like that, then at least that person can improve.
Like any way to help that person become better in any way is better than white lies.
Yeah.
So we've also asked ChatGPT more questions that are directed to us, like alone, like our relationship itself. And this first one is, in what way do you feel our relationship has evolved or changed since we first met?
Okay, well, we definitely improved in our confidence together, how we communicate together in terms of how clear, concise, accurate, how we can actually sit there and interpret and decipher and also perceive messages together. It's changed a lot because I know back then from talking from my perspective, I was quite hot headed. So I know how I used to talk. And back then you were
Quiet.
quite dopey.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you're a bit of a dope.
None of dope.
Yeah, you're a bit of a derp.
Excuse
A derp.
me.
Derp. You're kind of a derp where, you would,
I was too nice.
you're very nice, but you're also like, you believe everything.
You mean gullible?
Yeah, you're gullible.
I don't know what you're trying to talk about, but yeah, I think in a nutshell, the base of how we were as a couple, we were already quite understanding of each other. We knew how to work as a team originally already, but over time, I can see this strengthen within us. So I think we were strong as individuals already, and learning to work together as a team just only became stronger and better. And now where we can, like I always say, we're quite like liquid, we're fluid, where if one person wasn't able to do something or is struggling with something or is quite angry that day, the other person knows how to nurture and just evolve and adapt to that person. And that was something that I believe is our strength, but we've only just became stronger in this point. So that's where I can see the growth really is. And it's just like if we work as a team and say we lost one team member, like say you can't attend something or you aren't able to do something, it's okay. And the other person just keeps pushing forward. And we've really just honed in on that.
When our powers combined,
I mean,
we
the
are
fusion.
we are
Ding.
Captain Planet. Captain Planet.
What the hell? Unfortunately, I've never watched that.
Oh my days. You're missing out on the Captain Planet. Gotta put in a snippet.
You put it in the snippet. I don't know what this Captain Underpants, like Captain Underpants?
No, Captain Planet.
Oh.
What the hell's what?
Captain Underpants.
That is a cartoon, but no. Anyway, getting sidetracked here. This one is quite a deep one, actually.
Theme of this whole conversation. I'm glad you actually finally understood.
What are your hopes and dreams for our relationship together and as an individual?
I think it's quite similar to a lot of the things that people would hope for, but really just finding a place where we are both happy, like individually and together, whether that's finding the right career and where you're happy and settled in. Like it doesn't have to be like you've grown up the career line, but it's just finding a place that suits and aligns with you and where you're happy to be with. And also being able to continue to grow a happy family, happy space, happy home, and more tangible physical future goals is maybe second, third house, grow that financial portfolio, housing portfolio. I think that would be good. And always travel, just be able to make more memories together, just enjoy life, be in the moments more, and really just soak in those moments.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to summarize it within one sentence.
All right, go.
If we can ultimately live life to the fullest with the most and the best experiences with the peers around us that we can ultimately fulfill within our timeline, that is my goal. That's what I want.
Very nice. Almost made me want to cry.
A ball baggy.
Your ball bag. What the hell is a ball bag? Have you guys ever heard of this term ball bag? Because this is what he always calls me.
Ball baggy.
What the hell is a ball bag? A ball of bags? All right, this one. Question that actually a lot of people ask us. I don't know why. I guess because we're a relationship podcast. What is the secret to a to la a What do you believe is the secret to a long and lasting relationship based on your own experiences?
When you're doing that, oh yeah.
What? Ah, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ching, ching, walla, walla, bing, bang. Anyways, answer the question.
My own interpretation is just send it, guys. Just send it.
No, that makes no sense. Sending what to make a long and lasting relationship?
Okay. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just communicating and to enjoy life individually and together to the fullest. As long as you can achieve those goals or those with your significant other, then everything will work in unison.
Mm. Well, my understanding on how to create a lasting and long relationship is really the foundation, like how well this foundation is built. So, yeah, I agree with you, communication, but it's just one, you really need to understand yourself first. And that is key before you even start any relationship because this understanding builds into values, builds into boundaries, builds into things that you like, things that you don't like. So you need to understand that. And then the second thing is, yeah, communicating so that when things don't align with these values, things happen where you don't like it, you do like it, you communicate it. But then also, while after you communicate, it's be adaptable and be accepting to change. And also, if something doesn't go the way that you intend it to go, like be okay with it as well. So it's like being flexible, being adaptable to understand that sometimes things don't happen the way they are. So, for example, if I went into a relationship with all this list of expectations of what a boyfriend would be like, and you're not flexible or adapting to change or accepting that these things will change, you don't even know that maybe there is a whole new world out there of things that you actually enjoy about someone that you didn't even know because you're so fixated on this list. So I think it's just those three key things. Understand yourself, learn how to communicate, and also just be understanding and flexible and keep repeating this cycle as things change and as you evolve over time.
Very nice. Very
Secret
nice.
sauce, only 3 ingredients.
Very good.
Easy.
Very good. Well, this kind of relates. What are some of the small gestures or acts of kindness that make you feel loved and appreciated?
This is where the truth comes out. There is nothing. No, I'm just joking. Like for me, it really is the simple things. I really appreciate it when people are really patient and you can see that they are giving you their time, even though despite that they may not have time. So for me, when I feel most love from you, or like I just have this sense of feeling where I just feel like you're really showing me your love, is when you give me your time. So for example, you used to pick me up from work and you would actually sit in the car and wait for a whole hour in the car because I haven't finished yet, but you finish early. Like things like that where it's like very simple, but you're actually giving me a time where you could have just drove off and gone home and
Yeah,
done
so
your
it
own
should have
thing.
been like, fuck off, see you later.
Yeah. But those type of things is where I actually feel the most love and can see your kindness because yeah, everyone has things to do. Everyone can be like, I'm busy, but you chose to give me that time. So I appreciate that. What about you?
I don't even
Where's
know.
this list? Please tell me.
Fucking nothing, mate. It's fucking absolutely nothing.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't know, eh?
rude. All these things I do for you
Not all these
have
things.
have gone
A gun?
have gone unseen.
No, I'm more of a acts of service kind of person.
Small gestures of kindness.
Yeah, so I think I'm more of a person that when you do something for me and I didn't expect it, that's what I appreciate. Because I'm someone that likes to I like to clean and shit like that. And most times if I see mess, I'm like, well, fuck. Because
Well, fuck.
it's only because I was like, my family taught me to, anytime I use stuff, I need to clean it. So if someone helps me do that at home, then I'll be like, fuck yeah, nice.
But it makes you feel most loved and appreciated.
Fucking both, man. Double banging. Just clean. That's it.
So if I clean, it makes you feel appreciated.
Yeah, I'll be like, fuck
What
yeah.
the hell?
Fuck yeah.
More like appreciate me. I did the hard work, bro.
Yeah, I think just off the top of the dome, I think that's one. And then even like when you, like if I'm sick and you just fucking go all gung ho mum on me,
Yeah, friggin'
it's just pretty
made
funny.
you these white fungus pear goji berry soup, Chinese thing to help soothe the lungs and the phlegms.
Yeah, I was
Make
like,
congee
yeah, I
with
was
ingredients for the sick.
yeah, I was fucked. And then she went all mum gung ho on me, and I was like, oh shit, okay, mama.
Yeah, didn't do that for me.
Hey, relax. Yeah, I did. Relax.
Yeah, you gave me a pear uncut. That was your extent.
That's it.
All right, final one. What do you feel is the most important thing for us to remember during times of conflict or disagreement?
I think it depends on what the conflict or the disagreement is.
Or just like anytime in arguments, is there like a certain thing that you tell yourself to remember during those times?
No.
Your head's just like, fuck.
Yeah, my head's like, fuck this shit. I'm like, this motherfucker bringing up this shit. Yeah, no, I don't think there is really a most important thing. The biggest thing is well, why did you argue? And it's really just reflecting on what that argument is. And sometimes it's one of those things that you don't realize that you're doing that is causing the problem or had caused the problem, but it could be a misunderstanding as well. So I think it's trying to implement. I feel like the most important thing is trying to implement the errors or the whatever the wrongs or whatever it is at the time.
Well, I think even reeling it back before that though, like during times of conflict, is this applies to everyone, not just in a romantic relationship, just any friendship, work, whatever. Someone is coming to you about a problem because it has either affected them in some way, it has hurt them in some way. So to remember that, hey, you may feel attacked at that point in time, but it's understanding like you should know why, like understand why they're coming to you and be like, okay, let me hear what you're feeling, let me hear what you have to say, and then ask more questions and be like, okay, what made you feel this way? Was it something that happened? Is it something that I did? Or is it an external factor that's just not working, that's making you stressed, and now it's rolled into this certain thing that's gotten you angry? So remember that, yeah, you may feel uncomfortable, you may feel attacked, but remember that conflict, disagreement happens for a reason. Something may not have aligned with them, and you need to understand why and be understanding of that and try and work the problem out. Chanel,
Yeah, it was your face.
excuse me.
Just imagine that.
All right, this guy is losing his focus. So I guess this is it. This is the last question. So if there's any tips, any recommendations, any answers you want to join in on in any of this stuff that we've asked today, we really want to know your opinion, because we know that every relationship is different. Everyone's points and opinions is different too. So we would love to see your views as well.
Check out the Meta Search AI on Facebook,
Why you
Instagram,
We're
WhatsApp.
not sponsored. So
We're not sponsored, but yes, I thought it was pretty cool. It's a new thing that you guys
I
may have
actually
seen.
don't think it's cool. Like, I actually find it annoying because I'm trying to search for something, like going back through my chats or something, or trying to search for something on Instagram, and
Yeah.
that stupid AI thing is in
comes
the
up.
way.
Yeah.
And then it thinks that I'm trying to get a prompt on friggin' AI when I'm not trying to get a prompt. So I find it really annoying
Yeah.
right now. And coming from a UX perspective, as a UX designer, it's not being placed in the right position right now. So
Yeah, it's a bit annoying when you're trying to do other stuff, but it comes up. But hey, look, it's there to be taken advantage of. So take advantage of it and have a good day.
And bye.
Peace.